we would request the article ID RTCMM 23116. I repeat, article ID RTCMM 23116. Miss Shwetakshi Mishra to proceed with the presentation.
Yes. Yes, sir. Can I present my screen?
Sure.
Um, so I hope that the slides are visible.
Yes, it is visible. Please put it on the slideshow mode.
Yes, sir. I have placed.
Yeah, fine. Please go ahead.
Okay. A very warm good afternoon to all, respected session chairs, conference organizing committee members, and all the delegates present here. Myself, Shwetakshi Mishra. I am pursuing my master's in MSc Marine Biotechnology from Goa University. And today I am here to present my review on the topic Exploring Marine Prospects for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the RTCMM National Conference 2023. So these are the topics I will be covering in the session. To begin with, we all know that our Earth consists of 70% of water and 30% of land. Of this 70% water, 97% is seawater and only 3% is the water which we use, which is the fresh water. Now, this 97% of seawater constitutes a diverse range or a hub for different plants, animals, micro and macroorganisms which make up the unique marine ecosystem. So this seawater, wherever it is present, it will be a form of marine ecosystem. So this figure shows different types of marine ecosystem like coral reefs, kelp forest, salt pans, lagoons, marshes, etc. But how far are we exploring these marine ecosystem? Majorly over the decades, we have only used petroleum products as one of the global business from the marine ecosystem. But the petrol extraction is creating a drastic effect on the marine ecosystem. Also, the use of the creation of anthropogenic activities like marine pollution have created a possibility that in few years the marine systems will get destroyed even before we can explore them. So, as I said, that this marine system is a hub of diverse ecosystems of biotic and abiotic constituents, and only 5% of the ocean is still known, and rest 95% is unexplored. So this brings up the opportunities for researchers, entrepreneurs, and innovators to explore for different marine products and also find out solutions to sustain this marine ecosystem. And this brings me to define the major highlight of the review, that is to explore or enlist different types of fields of the marine ecosystem and give some strategies as to where innovation can be used in order to exploit these resources in a sustainable way. So here is the classification of marine entrepreneurship. So this classification we have proposed in the review, which is based on the market orientation. Now, market orientation as in whether the marine product which is present, it is already available in the market, or whether it is not yet into market but at a smaller scale. So the classification involves classification of marine entrepreneurship fields into the two main categories. One is the commercial scale marine entrepreneurship. That means the things which are already present in the market. For example, fisheries. So the people are doing fisheries for quite a long time. So here we just require some improvement in skills or maybe increase in production. Whereas in case of research-based marine entrepreneurship, for example, tidal energy, it's not very often used. So not much work is done and it requires more strategies to build up this field in a functional way. So in the review, I have given some of the fields or opportunities in both of these groups. The first one is commercial scale marine entrepreneurship opportunities. So as I said, this commercial scale will deal with mostly the disciplines that already exist in the market. For example, the products which are here, agar powder, which is used in puddings, or in other countries, seaweeds and canned seafood are commonly used. Fish oil is used as a source of nutraceutical. So these are already present commercially. But how can we improve it? So we require better strategies to produce and process as well as sell these products. So in the review, I have enlisted 5 of them. The first one is aquaculture, seaweed culture, global transportation, ecotourism services, and scuba and water sports centers. So the coming to the first one, that is aquaculture. Now aquaculture is defined as growing up of fishes or some shrimps or other seafood organisms mainly for consumption purposes. So if we look at the statistics, in 1990s, there was just 17 million tons of farm fishes. But currently there are over 100 million tons of fishes which are grown annually. Now, still, this aquaculture meets only 1/4% of the total consumption need. If we talk about India, in 1950s, there was just around 750,000 tons of fish which were produced, but now it has reached to 16,000. So here we need a strategy as to how to increase these products and also make it more sustainable. Similar to aquaculture, there is also seaweed culture. So seaweeds, though it's not very often consumed in India, but in abroad countries like Japan and China, they use it as food delicacies. So because they are a good source of vitamins and minerals, and also there are many next generation projects. So the agencies fund a lot in order to carry out seaweed culturing. So this can also be a good marketable business. Global transportation also, because most of the transport which takes place across the countries, it is through waterways, because there are two major reasons for this. Firstly, a lot of bulk can go together, and also it is very cheap, apart from any airway or roadway. So also there are cruises which takes place where people travel through the water route, so it can be a good business. Next is ecotourism services. So many of the traveling agencies claim to wildlife sanctuaries, forests, or hills. There can also be a business wherein ecotourism services can be provided to go and visit to marine areas. So this can be a good business. And the last one, which I mentioned as commercial scale marine entrepreneurship opportunities, is for scuba diving and for water sports centers, because this is becoming a very trendy site. Whenever people go for a holiday to some beach, they like to do water sports and scuba diving. So it can be a easy yet a multi-billionaire industry. Next, moving on to the next group, which is the research-based marine entrepreneurship opportunities. So this was one of the prime highlight of the review, because I am also into the marine biotechnology background. So the first one, which I mentioned, was isolation of novel marine bacteria and microbes. Because marine bacteria are unique, and they can produce a lot of proteins, amino acids, pigments, and enzymes, which can be of great beneficence to different industries. But culturing them is very difficult. Till now, only 0.1% of the entire microbes from the marine ecosystem are culturable. So we need to find out some strategies so that these marine bacteria can be cultivated as well as used in the commercial industry. Coral restoration projects. So if there is some entrepreneur or an innovator which can design some projects for coral restoration, then there is a lot of funding given worldwide. Because these coral reefs, which are present next to the seashore, they protect from any calamity like tsunamis or typhoons. But due to human activities, they are depleting a lot. So if we can find some ways for coral restoration, then definitely it will be a great business. Water desalination strategies. So we know that the fresh water is only 3%, and out of this, 2% is present in the form of ice in the poles of the earth. So now there are desalination plants which are set up, in which seawater is used and the salt is removed out, and the water is used for drinking purposes. But this technique is very costly, so it's not affordable by most of them. So how can we make this process cheaper to make it in a commercial scale? This can be one project which can be taken care of. Also, marine taxonomist. So as we keep increasing the exploration in marine ecosystem, new and new species of organisms are being identified. So we need marine taxonomists, that is the people who can categorize these organisms into different groups. Or maybe there is a need for some softwares or software designers which can create a software to carry out this separation of marine organisms. So this is also an emerging field. Restoration of the dead zones. So dead zones in general are areas in the ocean where nothing can grow. This is mainly because the oxygen there is completely absent. So this leads to death of most of the organisms, and it is a huge loss to the ecosystem. So many projects are ongoing which work to which invest a lot of amount to carry out this restoration of dead zones, and it can be a very good business. Last these two, which is making of marine products. So this can be of any pharmaceutical or nutraceutical importance or some other field. So if we produce such marine products, then it can be a worth billion business. Also, models for marine pollution. How can we stop these marine pollutions? Whether there are some strategies or some noble works which can be done to become a multi-billionaire business as well as get public appraisals. So, in the entire review, I have tried to first classify these marine entrepreneurship groups into two broad categories and define some of the major fields which are a part of these particular groups. So, the marine system will definitely bring young entrepreneurs, innovators, and researchers together and provide new possibilities to get more marine products as well as use them sustainably. So here are the references which I have used, and that is all about. Thank you so much for providing me this opportunity. Thank you and keep exploring.
Thank you, Shwetakshi, for your presentation. Now, I would request our session chairs to kindly proceed with the question and answer session.
Thank you for that presentation, Shwetakshi. I would like to ask you, did you come across any, since it was a review article, did you come across any promising or innovative techniques or technologies that are currently being explored or employed for coral restoration? So you
Uh,
mentioned about that. So I would like to know if you have come across some studies related to it, wherein they have adapted or implemented already few technologies.
yes, sir. So basically, the coral takes a lot of time to grow. So it's a 1,000 years process. So in some of the papers, they have used artificial coral restoration, wherein they plant some certain membranes which are similar in appearance to that of corals. So by that, what happens is the microorganism or the biota which is present next to the coral reefs, they think that it is a natural coral reef and they come and start living. So the corals as such do not get restored, but the life or the microbiota present there, they remain functional. So that is one of the research which I came across.
Okay. Anything in relation to the climate change, since it is marine culture or marine related entrepreneurship which you are talking about. So everyone is facing this climate change. So anything you would like to highlight on what is the impact that has been posed because of this climate change?
So climate change, the good example which I can give of is the dead zones which are formed because of climate change. Because as we keep on increasing the content of nitrification, all the products which are released into through the industries, and the temperature which is rising because of climate change and a lot of waste generation, then the algal blooms are increasing. So these algal blooms grow over the area in the ocean, and once they die, the microorganisms which decompose this algae, which is actually produced in a large scale, they use all the oxygen to degrade them. So because of this, there is an increase in dead zones which is there. Then another example could be of the increasing temperature of the ocean, definitely, which is leading a lot of issues of tsunamis and typhoons which are coming, because the glaciers are melting and it is increasing in the overall water levels. So some of them could be this.
Can I ask a question, Ms. Shwetakshi?
Yes,
So
Mishra.
nothing. uh, Now you told that these are the negative effects that cause climate change. Due to climate changes, there will be dead zones in the aquatic atmosphere. So, would you enlighten us? I don't know whether you have gone in depth to that. What can be done to prevent all these things? The effect of this climatic change in the aqua environment.
Ma'am, not certainly I can answer this, because definitely there is a need for the society to produce different products, but doing it in sustainable way can be helpful. For example, when we are doing aquaculture, there is a lot of nitrogen and ammonia which is accumulated. So, though there are a lot of guidelines which are now into use regarding waste disposal and treatment of water, so this can certainly help to reduce down the direct impact on the oceans. And also then some papers which I have gone across with respect to radioactivity. So the radioactive waste which is discarded inside the ocean depths, so how can we reduce it? If we can stop down or find some other solutions like phytoremediation or something, so that they can be taken up and not directly disposed into oceans.
So regulation should be brought into
Hmm.
the picture so that these should be controlled, right?
Controlled. And also then
Yes.
some of the products which are produced from the marine ecosystem. So if suppose there is a pharmaceutical product or a compound which we found, so rather than always extracting it from the marine resources, we can always make a synthetic constituent of it and not use the marine resources every time. This can also be a
Yes.
solution for that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Shwetakshi. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shwetakshi, for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, Thank you. Now,